So we are going to try to get some of us to coronation here shortly, and then there's a big Sioux review this weekend, and I'm sure there's football and all sorts of other stuff. So here we go. Roll call, Mr. Lundberg. Yes.
Yes. Axer.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Bell. Yes.
With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. There are no conflict of interest or disclosure or waiver requests this evening. Takes us to community input. Do we have any? I don't believe we have any community input this evening. General business. Administration report, Superintendent Larson.
Madam Chair, I'm just going to briefly pause. Chuck, are you okay in terms of recording and all of that?
They did record it manually. The recording piece is not functioning at the moment.
Perfect. And for the record, when we wanted to change technology from 1984 and go to this, I was very apprehensive. So let the record show that I had some concerns. Moving on. In terms of our superintendent's report, I have just a couple of items to update the board on here this evening. We continue to work through that respective process, looking for December adoption-ish. We'll be bringing additional information in the coming months regarding that. Enrollment, our junior kindergarten through 12th grade enrollment as of September 16th was 5,123 students. That's a growth of 107 students from our respective fall enrollment. Brandon Valley Eastside Elementary, I'm proud to tell you that we're turning dirt and the initial groundwork is underway. So that process has begun. No change to project completion or estimated opening. Free and reduced meal applications are available. They are on Family Access and Skyward. Free meals are only available to those that qualify, and the application must be completed. Wanted to inform the board of a collaborative special project that we have been working on with the South Dakota Council on Developmental Disabilities. Ultimately, we're looking to support families, promote community inclusion, and raise awareness. We have some BVHS video production interns developing, creating, and ultimately we'll be producing professional quality video to be shared with the community at the Brandon Valley community level, and then also potentially at a greater level. So excited to see how our students put that together, and we appreciate the collaborative work with the South Dakota Council on Developmental Disabilities on that project. Just want to note that the Brandon Community Foundation has a special event. It's Oak and Vine. That specific event will be highlighting Building a Brighter BV, which is ultimately that collaborative community project that we've been working on that benefits the Brandon Community Foundation with our students building cabins for Yogi Bear, and then in lieu of a paid internship, Yogi Bear has agreed to provide a donation to the Brandon Community Foundation. So really excited about that project, and also really appreciate the Brandon Community Foundation, all they do for our community, and then ultimately highlighting our students and their internships. In terms of academic calendar, we are getting very close to parent-teacher conferences. On October 7th, we will have our elementary and high school conferences. On October 8th, we will have our intermediate school and middle school conferences. There is no school on October 11th, and there is no school for students on October 14th, but our teaching staff have in service. November 11th, there is no school for Veterans Day, so please note that Board of Education meeting is moved to November 12th at 6:30 p.m. November 27th through the 29th, there is no school for Thanksgiving break. Madam Chair, at this point in time, that's all I have.
Superintendent Larson? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much, Superintendent Larson. Board policy, there is none tonight. Takes us to general business. Item number 1, proposed framework for additional issuance, limited tax capital outlay certificate series 2024. And this is a presentation only, there will be no action on this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what we've outlined for you here this evening is a proposed framework for an additional issuance of our limited tax capital outlay certificates series 2024, which are ultimately the capital outlay certificates that were issued for the East Side Elementary. So a real quick overview of the situation. Our resolution authorized $34 million in capital outlay certificates to be issued. Mr. Lundberg, the way he works that is that 34 million would have ultimately led to a little bit more than 36 million in cash with the premiums. So that's about what we had the project estimated at, was 36. Our initial issuance was $23,130,000, and that ultimately netted the Brandon Valley School District just a shade over 26 million, which is covers the cost of the East Side Elementary construction project. So we have a remaining authorized balance for issuance of $10,870,000. So the first item that I want to outline is an East Side Elementary community room. This additional space is added to the East Side Elementary in the form of a community room. The space will be similar to the Brandon Valley High School community room. This is going to be a change order of $500,000 to $600,000, will be dependent upon what that quote comes in at. And that is available within the original capital outlay certificate issuance. So please note that $500,000 change order fits in the original issuance and isn't actually a component of the additional issuance. The proposed framework for additional issuance is outlined here for your respective review. I would note that it may not be 8 million exactly in terms of the second issuance. Maybe it's 7,500,000 and the premium garners what we need. We'll work through those details as we get closer, but approximate numbers are listed for your respective review. So phase one of the additional issuance is $8 million, and the timeline for this work would be 2024 through 2026. So roughly the same exact timeline as our East Side Elementary. The first item I would outline for you is an addition at the Brandon Valley Middle School. That is 8 additional classrooms, kitchen expansion, locker room expansion, and then wrestling room, multi-purpose room expansion as well. I would note for the public after the meeting, if you'd like to take a look at what those respective additions look like and where they are, there are a couple of boards that Architecture Incorporated has provided for your reviews. There's $1 million outlined in operations for HVAC and also asphalt replacement at the transportation facility. There's about $500,000 outlined for Faith Avenue on the school-owned property on the south end of the district. So it's Faith Avenue, which would be on the west side of our south property. Ultimately, we as the landowner are responsible for Faith Avenue as it's not an arterial road next to our property. So an example I would use for you is Inspiration Elementary, 41st Street. That's a main arterial road right on our property. The Brandon Valley School District did not pay for that. The city of Sioux Falls paid for that. Ultimately, municipalities are responsible for those main arterial infrastructures. But this is $500,000 for Faith Avenue. Would note that Sanford, Good Sam, and Lewis is now moving dirt and building on that property on Veterans Parkway and 57th Street, and that's ultimately what is stimulating the need to build out that respective road. And then we have $500,000 outlined for architecture fees, engineering fees, testing fees, and other fees. So the phase one timeline that I would outline for you is fall and winter. We're in the midst of said design, and then we will bid it in the winter of 2025. Spring, summer of 2025, construction begins, and then construction is ongoing throughout the 25-26 school year, with us open for 2026, for fall of 2026. Would note that the HVAC piece And the asphalt piece, that will be timed out and either placed this summer or next summer, depending upon how that we need to operationalize that, because there will be a ton of coordination associated with those respective pieces. Phase 2, and this is a piece of what our 5-year plan and BD Vision 2040 is. Would note that, as you guys are aware, we are saving a little bit of capital outlay over the course of the next 5 years because we have the idea of having $10 million to pay out of cash for some substantial projects or a substantial project. So in 2029-ish, phase 2, using $10 million out of capital outlay cash savings, we have $5 million outlined for the Brandon Valley Middle School second phase of their addition, and that will be a multi-purpose fine art space and an additional gymnasium. The reason that we look to add an additional gym is because they'll need to use the east portion of their existing gym for additional lunchroom common space, so a caffeinasium, so that they have the ability to ultimately feed the number of kids that they'll have in that respective building. $2 million for performing arts center upgrades and maintenance, and then $3 million for an outdoor activity complex renovation and remodel. Bleachers, press box, that type of jazz. So, ladies and gentlemen, would certainly entertain any questions that you may have, but ultimately it is, phase 1 is an issuance of $8 million. We've got focus on the middle school addition, and then operations, infrastructure, and taking care of those respective fees. Phase 2, approximately 5 years down the road, out of $10 million in capital outlay cash savings, we do that second phase and finish up the middle school addition, $2 million in fine art center upgrades or performing arts center upgrades and maintenance, and then $3 million for an outdoor activity complex reno and remodel. So ladies and gentlemen, I would certainly entertain any questions you have. At this point in time, again, presentation only. We'll come back at our next meeting, ultimately looking for approval of the framework so that we can formally move into those respective processes. But I would, before I go, ask Mr. Lundberg if he would have any comments regarding the issuance of the bonds or anything to note regarding that.
I would mention that we have issued the first $23 million of the bonds last week. They'll close Thursday of this week. We received, as Jared pointed out earlier, over a $3 million premium on those bonds. The market was hit very well as far as us hitting them right. We had an all-in interest cost of 3.86% on the 20-year bonds. Covers all the bond issuance costs and all that stuff. So very happy with the issuance of those certificates. In addition, I would comment that all of these things, the original issue of $23 million, what he's talking about here, everything, all inclusive, is within the confines of our current taxing levies. There's no smoke and mirrors here. This is all within the current levies. All.
So I don't have a question, I just have a thank you and appreciation. Whether it's bad news last year or good news this year, you guys find a great way to keep advancing the plan we have, the vision we have, in a way that's not impacting our constituents. Thank you, that's fantastic. Good job.
I would point out one thing on the drawings. I don't know if everybody got a chance to see them, but Jared pointed out earlier that green section right in the middle of the left-hand one, that's the one half of one gym there that we would use for cafeteria seating. And we continue to use the other half of it. And then the classroom addition, I just think it's really cool how that fits in there. We're not extending out into the east green space really at all. It's within the general framework. And remember that our middle school was originally designed for 3 pods, and this kind of will take off and we'll be able to work it for the 2-pod system. Are the cool things about it. The blue back there is the locker room, weight room, not weight room, wrestling room facility type stuff, and locker room addition. The blue by the classrooms, that's restrooms, and those 2 small blue ones are conference rooms.
This is probably just a very small detail. I know that we have phase 2 listed in the proposed framework for the multipurpose fine art space. On the drawing, it looks like it's put in as phase 1, or we just,
It is phase 2,
Okay.
the kitchen expansion is phase 2, but everything, gymnasium and the 5 multi-purpose room, that's all phase 3.
okay.
I just got a question, at the middle school, parking. Parking's a problem. I mean, Holly's a busy road. Okay, are we going to be able to address more cars in this expansion of parking, or are we just sort of, is a blueprint?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's a good question, Mr. Rohde. If you look at the 30,000-foot view to the right, what you can see is that we actually create a new parent driveway and access, which will come off of to the east of the building. We've been informed that that'll eventually be a roundabout at that respective intersection, but they'll come in off of the east side of our property, and it really elongates the parent pickup and drop off. So by elongating that parent pickup and drop off, you take all of that pressure off of Holly and the cars staying, for lack of a better phrase, in your drive lane on the way out. The other thing I would say is we are adding additional parking spaces and expanding the current parking lot further to the east as outlined there for your review.
Currently, the stacking, as you probably all know, currently the stacking is right here, goes up to here, and stops there. But this eventual proposal coming off that, what is it, Maple? Yeah. The stacking will be all the way up and try to get them down here farther. Up here, so this will be stacked all the way. It'll be a tremendous amount more stacking. Where's the cars in? Where's stacking? Beginning of school.
They're in a line and they're not moving.
Yeah. And 15 minutes of pure hell.
Faculty,
Get out!
faculty parking will be right adjacent to the church parking lot then, that north or that west strip there.
Faculty will remain as it is right now. A lot of them will park over here,
Over there.
and then some will park definitely in the middle. It'll be expanded in the middle there.
Anyone else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, Superintendent Larson. Item 2, I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement for professional services between the Brandon Valley School District and Stockwell Engineers for the Sunshine Avenue Extension Project for $61,600 as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 11 as presented, please. So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. 2 items there for information only. Under communication, there is a thank you note there for your review. Anyone have any formal board reports this evening they would like to share? Just quickly from Teach Well, we're loaded with kids. That's all I have to say.
Safety committee met on the 18th here and had a great meeting. Obviously, the first meeting of the school year is always scary yet rewarding. Hearing from Officer Sarda talking about this summer, the good and the bad. A lot of good from the community, a lot of help. One of the main things that he hit on was the curfew, whether it's the summer, whether it's during the school year. The curfew is still 11 PM, and so they had some issues with that, so parents, yep. Also with the school starting, the parking lot, there's always fender benders, but overall, Officer Sarda said that kids are doing great, respecting the time. The 0 class period obviously again was hit, but very good there. The concerns about moving forward is obviously the social media, the vaping. Those concerns are always in front, foremost. Some of the building spot checks, there's still a couple things that we can always improve on, and that's always been my expertise. Like, we're not perfect, you know, here, and we will never be perfect, but we try to do the best, and we are always trying to update those hot spots, so to say. Anything else you want to? Yeah, we go ahead. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? All right, that takes us to the end of our agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, and go enjoy Coronation.